Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In this video, we are going to be discussing one of the most important topics of the day at the moment, and one that could genuinely swing this year's US election, and that is Trump's potential VP. Now, I'm going to go through some of the candidates and give my pick for who I think it might be, which might surprise you, and I hope to read all of your comments below. And we're also going to be looking at the interview that I did with Sky News Australia as well, and I'm going to be expanding a little bit on my thoughts. So with that said, if you guys were tuned in to CPAC last week, you may have seen that they did a straw poll where the MAGA base gave their predictions or their preferences for who they would like to see as Trump's VP. And in the lead was Vivek Ramaswamy and Kristi Noem on 15%, Tulsi Gabbard on 9%, Tim Scott on 8%, and then really the rest below them. So with that said, and starting from the top, let's have a talk about the name on everybody's lips, Vivek Ramaswamy. And like I said, I discussed a potential Trump and Vivek ticket on Sky News Australia with Rita Panahi this week. So let's have a listen to that.
And the thing that I would say about Vivek is that I think that he's emblematic of kind of the new age politician. I think that we're entering into an era now where you have that entrepreneur style politician, the intoxicant, the personality, the person who can go on there and debate people on CNN and NBC and absolutely wipe the floor with them. And Vivek is just that guy. He's got an intoxicating sort of presence about him. It shows when you interview him as well.
And he's almost always the smartest man in the room, but he's not arrogant about it. What do you think the chances are, you're in the US at the moment, of him ending up as the VP pick? A lot of people are in Trump's ear saying he's not a good option. What's your feeling?
My feeling is that Vivek Ramaswamy would be an unbelievable VP. But the question really is, would he be the most intelligent choice if they were to have to run up against Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom? Because I think that Trump would beat Biden if it was a fair and democratic election, that is, no matter what. However, if the Democrats were to come and roll out Michelle and Gavin, I think that it might work in Trump's favor a little bit more to have somebody who's a little bit more of a cool, calm sort of presence, perhaps a female, maybe somebody like Dr. Ben Carson. So I think the politically intelligent thing to do if he was to go up against them would be one of those options. However, Vivek is the guy who can come in and knows the Constitution in and out, knows all of the history, and he's the kind of person that Trump could have a high-level idea and Vivek could come underneath him and really sort of make everything happen at the ground level. So it would be a formidable duo.
So Vivek Ramaswamy, while his campaign for president was on, he was saying that he did not want to be Trump's VP. And obviously, he had to do that because he had to show confidence in his own campaign.
I have to ask you, would you be open to being Trump's running mate?
I would not. I am actually focused on winning the presidency.
But now, it appears as though he is actually positioning himself to be Trump's VP. He's getting very close with Trump. He's endorsing him.
Thank you. Wow, how was that? Pretty good, right? That was pretty good, and he's a fantastic guy, and he's really, he's got something that's very special because he started off with a Zippo, and he ended up very strong. He did a great job. I was actually surprised when he called because he was doing well, and it's an honor to have his endorsement. He's going to be working with us, and he'll be working with us for a long time.
We've seen Vivek and his wife Apurva at Mar-a-Lago with Trump and Melania, and there has been much speculation about this. Trump has commented on it.
Let me just ask you a follow-up on that about who would be in your cabinet, in your administration. If you are the nominee, which I know you expect to be, who would be in the running for vice president?
Well, I can't tell you that, really. I mean, I know who it's going to be.
Give us a hint.
We'll do another show sometime. I may or may not release something over the next couple of months. There's no rush to that. It won't have any impact at all. The person that I think I like is a very good person, pretty standard. I think people won't be that surprised. But I would say there's probably a 25% chance it would be that person.
Just before we get to the next video, guys, please don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it.
The audience has been asked who they think would be a good choice, and various names came up. One of them was, of course, Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah. He's made a big splash. Ron DeSantis, who's making an appearance today in South Carolina, we just found out. Obviously, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, and a big presence here for Tulsi Gabbard. Very interesting. And Kristi Noem as well, I should say. Right. Are they all on your short list?
They are. Honestly, all of those people are good. They're all good. They're all solid. And I always say, I want people with common sense.
Furthermore, Vivek has been questioned about this.
So, Vivek, do you want to be vice president? Well, look, I want to serve this country in whatever way I can, Jesse, but that's why I've been in this race since the first place.
Now, you guys will know, because I've covered him on the channel, that I have a great deal of respect for Vivek and his team for that matter. Very professional, cool guys. I've interviewed him on the channel and maybe you guys would be expecting me to ride pretty hard for him for VP. And in a perfect world, they would be, like I said, a formidable duo. And I think that I and a lot of others would love to see it. And I do also believe that Trump has a lot of respect for Vivek and the respect is reciprocated. But with all this in mind, and feel free to roast me in the comments about this if you totally disagree. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, realistically speaking, Vivek has absolutely no chance of getting the nomination. And I'll explain my thoughts as to why. I believe that Donald Trump respects Vivek Ramaswamy too much, and it all boils down to the archetypal relationship between leader and right-hand man. You see, Trump is somebody who is a natural-born alpha leader. He understands the art of war, and he understands how to be a very effective leader. And one of the things that has been a truism throughout history is that great leaders always tend to pick a right-hand man that they don't suspect would ever challenge them. Vivek may well get a position in Trump's cabinet, but I think that he is way too charismatic, way too loved by Trump's base, and way too likely to steal the light to be actually chosen to be VP. Vivek Ramaswamy, for me, has all the characteristics of a number one and not a number two. Even in that clip before where we saw the two of them embracing, some may see this as a beautiful moment, a coming together of two people who want the best for America and who are America first, and I can see that. But when I see it, I kind of see a bit of a clash. I see the old alpha chimp who's at the top of the dominance hierarchy and the young, ambitious, red-blooded chimp who still respects the old chimp and wants to be friends with him, but the old chimp is wise enough to never let him get too close. These are two guys who both understand the art of body language and the art of communication and how to portray dominance when there are cameras on. And that's not to say that they don't like each other. They definitely do like each other and respect each other. And I'm not saying that Vivek would become VP and try and usurp Trump. However, I just don't think the dynamic would be right. Let's just have a think for a moment about some of the famous number twos or the famous right-hand men throughout TV shows and movies. And I know what some of you are probably thinking,
Jake, you big stupid handsome devil, that's TV and movies, and this is reality. We can't base reality off of fiction.
But I would disagree in the sense that I think movies and TV shows actually provide the best examples, because these characters are normally based off of archetypes that human beings inherently understand and resonate with. And that's why in many cases they're so popular. Have a think for a moment about what all of these number twos have in common. Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings, Waylon Smithers, the right-hand man of Mr. Burns. In Game of Thrones, you have Davos Seaworth to Stannis Baratheon, and you have Jorah Mormont to Daenerys Targaryen, and of course, Chewbacca to Han Solo.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
These characters are all unbelievably loving and loyal towards their leader, to the point where they are absent their own personal leadership ambition. And a real-life example of a very cutthroat leader, somebody that eliminated potential threats as soon as he saw them, was Stalin. Stalin and Trotsky were allies until Lenin died, and then when it came time for somebody to claim the throne, Stalin had Trotsky exiled. Now, Trotsky might have been useful in terms of his ideological knowledge, and he might have been able to really galvanize the base, but Stalin wasn't sticking around to see if he challenged for the throne or not. And I think that most powerful and effective leaders throughout history have pretty much always thought like this. They want unwavering, sycophantic loyalty from their councilmen and will strike down any sign of personal leadership ambition. And I do believe that history actually bears this out with Trump's own track record. If you look at his last VP, Mike Pence, he is a docile career politician with the charisma of a flat tire. And Trump was in no way threatened by him. However, the benefit of having Mike Pence was that he managed to reach an audience in the evangelical Christians that Trump wasn't necessarily so popular with at the time. But the point here being that the king's hand is normally an obsequious character. They just don't want somebody who possesses the charisma, the wit, and the cunning to eventually become a threat. And Vivek Ramaswamy has exactly those things, and Trump knows it. And guys, if you think I've been watching too much Game of Thrones, then let me know below. And that brings me to the next contender, who was equal 15% on that straw poll with Vivek, and that is Governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, somebody who I've never mentioned on this channel. And that's because there wasn't really any need to mention her till now. She seems to have done a good job with South Dakota, which is where Mount Rushmore is, and that's a cool thing. But is Kristi Noem the kind of person who strikes awe and wonder into the crowd, who makes people envision how things could be, and who makes you want to just get up and dance like Michael Jackson when you hear them speak? No, she's not. But she seems to be a clever woman, and it is important that she is, in fact, a woman. I do believe that one of Trump's biggest weaknesses coming into this, and one of the things that has been really plaguing Republicans, is the fact that they are losing the female vote since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Now, I'm obviously in support of that, but the political reality is that unfortunately it does affect the vote. If you're a really pro-life president, you're very unlikely to do well with the ladies. And I do believe that this is one of the reasons why Trump is going to pick Kristi Noem. She's very loyal to him. She's not overly charismatic. She's not going to steal the show. And also, she could really galvanize the female population of America. She's the kind of candidate that women would vote for because she is, in fact, a woman. So at this stage, that's who I think it's going to be, guys. And just going down the list now, Tulsi Gabbard was next on 9%. And I think that she would obviously be a strong candidate. However, I just don't see her and Trump being a good match. I mean, I don't see it ideologically. I don't see them being a very good match personality-wise. And she used to be a Democrat and then an independent, and then she'd be a Republican. I mean, doesn't seem like the one for me. And then Tim Scott on 8%. I mean, if I had to be honest about this one, guys, I just don't think Trump respects him. I don't think Trump sees him as competent enough to be the VP. And the last ones I'll mention, Ron DeSantis, 5%. I mean, a few years ago, guys, everybody was talking about a Trump-DeSantis ticket. And I think that would have been incredible if DeSantis never ran against Trump. If DeSantis had have stayed killing it in Florida and just doing the best job ever and supporting Trump and saying we're going to make America great again and that we're going to put America first and being his boy, then I think DeSantis might have been the perfect running mate, but that will never happen. And last one of all, Ben Carson on 5%. I mean, he would be a fantastic choice, but I think that 5% kind of says it all. He's not going to get the level of votes and support that somebody like Kristi Noem would bring in my opinion. So guys, can't wait to read all your thoughts about this. I'm sure many of you vehemently disagree with me about my opinions, and I will be responding to many of your comments. So with that, you guys can find me below as usual. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. And if you'd like to watch another one, right here. Till next time, I'm Jake, this is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.